Hey folks, Jim Leila here for Geeking Out episode 186. It's Marvelous March Week 3.
Or, as it might be known to some of the basketball fans out there, March Madness!
Yeah. Or some of our other fans, Beard Week 3.
Yes.
I'm starting to look a bit more scruffy, as it were.
Yeah.
And by the end of the next 2 weeks, I'll probably look like Alan Moore.
I don't know. That's a lot of beard growth.
Yeah, well, we'll see, won't we?
We will.
I'm just like a chia pet. Just put some water on here and it'll grow. So let's get to it. We got at least 6 comic reviews to get to, and then a little bit of a news item.
Yes.
So let's get to it. I'll let you start.
Okay, so first up we've got Avengers Assemble #1. This is written by Brian Michael Bendis with art by Mark Bagley. So in this one, the movie cast of the Avengers celebrates the opening of Avengers Tower with a few other friends, and meanwhile the Zodiac assemble, a little group of their own, uniting in a common goal to acquire a source of power that will make them untouchable. So Phase 1 involves a confrontation between the Hulk and a foe that can create and control water, it seems, while Taurus, a bull with super speed and strength, takes on Hawkeye, Black Widow, Thor, and Iron Man. Okay, so #1, this book is being marketed as like a good jumping on point for people who want to see the movie Avengers team. But it's also going to be in Marvel Universe continuity. So they're saying it's not just like a throwaway series, right? And it also does feature new villains, the Zodiac, and they're also promising to reinvent one of the greatest Avenger villains of all time for the modern age. Who knows, because that part of the book didn't seem to translate in this issue. But I gotta say that overall it's only okay for me. I mean, there's a strong opening by Bendis. Like, the writer really does a good job of effectively drawing the reader into the action. It starts like really tight with the one character, and then all of a sudden it's like, bam, there's this big group of people he's talking to, which is kind of cool. And I love the Joss Whedon nod in the story.
No.
There's actually like an army dude that they're like, hey, General Whedon, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, that's kind of funny.
And he will die horribly.
Yeah. There's great art by Bagley, especially in the action scenes, but somehow the overall effect of the book is kind of flat, and why they allude to other Avengers team members also in the book is kind of weird, especially if you're going to try and really push this movie team. But I guess you're trying to draw people in and then be like, hey, P.S., these guys aren't the only guys that have been Avengers. But it just feels like a shameless kind of movie plug here, like the movie's coming out in a little while, and this is the series that we needed.
No, really?
Yeah, we needed Avengers #1 for everybody to read, even though they have these crappy movie prequels out, which just rehash material we already know from the movies. So, I mean, I guess this is the real new stuff for people who want to, go, hey, that Avengers...
And by new, we mean completely not new.
Yeah, So, I don't know. Do we need another Avengers book? I really can't say. But, for new readers, I guess this is a good jumping point, like a good place to get onto the whole thing. And Bendis and Bagley are pretty awesome creators. So, you could do a lot worse. It just was only okay for me.
All right, next up we have X-23 #21, which is the final issue of the series. And in this one, as X-23's globe-trotting journey comes to a close, she embarks upon a spiritual journey to find her true self and just where she really belongs. All right, so having never read this series, I'm going in blind.
To the last issue.
Exactly. But
good.
here's the thing. I didn't really research it too much, but I got who this character was. There are no words in this book. It is told simply through the images.
Nice.
And Phil Noto's art is simply gorgeous to look at, and I really got a sense of this character through her spiritual journey to find herself through the book, and it was simply gorgeous. Now, I can't recommend it too highly, because I hadn't read the previous issues, but simply gorgeous final issue. It really makes you feel for the character through the art. You get a sense of who she really is, etc. It's really good. It was really good. And I like when artists take risks like this. And trust me, I'm sure people will be like, this is stupid. I wanted to read. It's like, well, read with your mind. Use it. to use your imagination. Think what she's doing,
Yes.
etc. Watch, learn.
Insert thought bubble here.
Exactly. What is she thinking as she walks into the forest naked, etc.
Yeah.
It's one of those types of books, and it's simply wonderful. Probably, I would have to say it's probably one of the better books I've read in a long time, just because of Noto's art.
Mm-hmm.
But as a superhero book, not great, but a simply wonderful finale, and really makes you feel for the character, which is always a good thing in my book.
All right. Next up, I return to Wolverine and the X-Men at issue number 7 with, this is written by Jason Aaron with art by Nick Bradshaw.
Yay, Kitty!
Yes. I had to fight Jim for this book because Kitty
Yeah,
Pryde was on the cover.
I'm kind of a Kitty Pryde fan from way back. Yes, I used to like Marvel books and everything, but Kitty Pryde is my favorite character, so...
So she figures largely in this one. Anyway, so I did do a little bit of research because I had not read it since issue number 1. So I was like, okay, have to get back up to speed. So previously in the book, or at least semi-recently leading into this one, Kitty Pryde and Brew fend off an alien attack while the bulk of the students and faculty of the Jean Grey School for Higher Learning hide out in the safe room. Meanwhile, Kitty's innards are swarming with millions of microscopic brood, and Beast, Iceman, Rachel Grey, and Warbird have miniaturized themselves to voyage into Kitty's inner space.
Dun dun dun!
To retrieve Kid Gladiator, who has become a brood himself. And also, Wolverine and Quentin Quire tried to drum up funding for the school at a space casino.
With special guest star Robert Picardo as the cowboy.
So, I was like, really? That's where we've been going? Okay, that's a lot different from where we started in number 1. Anyway, so back to this issue. Brew faces off against an extreme zoologist named Professor Xanto Starblood and finds out why the professor is bent on killing him. And Kitty tries to help Brew, and she receives some surprising help while dealing with the pain of the fight going on in her abdomen while she's trying to fight and protect Brew on the outside. And Quentin and Wolverine run into some problems while trying to secure funding at the space casino. It turns out in space, they can hear you scream, and the pain, and they're forced to return home empty-handed, but Krakoa offers a solution to their financial woes. Beast and the gang return from Kitty's inner space to stop Professor Star-Lord, but Brew's life is changed in the process forever, and Kitty comes to terms with her pregnancy and makes a surprising decision. Okay. Yeah, a lot happened in this book, and I thought it was really masterfully pulled together by Aaron and Bradshaw here.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a really good job.
If I could say anything about this book, having looked at it, I love the art style. It's so Art Adams,
it's very
and it works really well. Yeah.
Very effective here, and I love like the facial expressions.
Yeah,
and
as I was saying, it's very Art Adams style, and it really works.
So even though this was like a really crazy story that seemingly is inspired by a Hollywood stinker of a movie,
You didn't like Inner Space?
Not really, no.
Oh, this is a discussion for another day.
I did enjoy this. I thought it was funny, and yet it did have meaning for several of the characters, and especially Kitty. It takes her in a different direction. And
I always like evolution for a character like that.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I personally am really excited about the appearance of the Bamps, who are not really Bamps. And I hope that this means that a character that I really love is returning to the X-Men universe. I'm crossing my fingers, but I don't know if it's really going to happen. But I was excited to see that on the pages in this book, and I highly recommend this. I don't know what to say. If you're looking for something really wacky and weird and yet still superhero, this is for you.
And anything with Kitty Pryde is good.
To summarize.
Yes. Anyway, Incredible Hulk, number 6. What price did Hulk have to pay to separate Bruce Banner from himself, and how far will he go to keep it that way? And Hulk must also face the Banner's maddest creations, the Bannermen!
The Bannermen?
Yes.
Oh.
Which leads to the biggest Hulk versus Banner fight ever.
Interesting.
And many Bannermen dying. And, well, let's just say this ends on quite a cliffhanger.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Like somebody hanging from a cliff, literally? Or?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to spoil it.
Okay.
But let's just say that Hulk wants to kill Banner.
Interesting.
And how do you think he's going to achieve that? Anyway, interesting story, but the art really suffers here.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a fan of Louis Portacio.
Yeah.
But this looks like he did it on a weekend. This is not up to snuff for him.
Gotcha.
This is really not up to snuff for him. It's very weak, but it's okay. I mean, it's still good. It's just not his best.
Is it like the action scenes that are particularly muddied?
Yeah, it's a little bit muddied, and Portacio can do so much better. So much better. Believe me, I've seen him do much better than this. Mm-hmm. It's just, this feels really weak to me. Mm-hmm. Story-wise, it's okay. It's fun to see Banner fighting kind of with himself.
Yeah.
And there are many, many different types of Hulks and everything, so it's fun. It's just not perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. And last but certainly not least of the books that I read this week is Fantastic Four number 604, written by Jonathan Hickman with art by Steve Epting. So this is the epic conclusion of a 3-year story. Previously, the human...
Wow, that's a long story.
Yeah, exactly. This is the way they're marketing it anyway. But I've been jumping on and off Fantastic Four, so I had to, I read number 600, which was amazing. And that's the one where, Human Torch appeared to die, stopping a horde of monsters from the negative zone, but then he's later resurrected to fight as a gladiator for the entertainment of Annihilus, who then is eventually defeated by Storm and the Light Brigade. And then meanwhile, in an attempt to change the past, or our present, Franklin and Valeria Richards vanished into the revision wave that they make to try and change something that's going to happen the rest of us didn't know about. So now in this issue...
The third Fantastic Four movie.
Hopefully not. So in this issue, a grown Franklin and Valeria appear and try and turn the tide on the battle against the Mad Celestials. Grown Franklin takes off to fight the Celestials, leaving Nathaniel and grown Valeria to explain what's going on to the shocked Fantastic Four. And it turns out they're trying to prevent the death of Reed Richards, which has been foretold countless times in other universes, according to Nathaniel Richards. So he found out about it, he told Franklin. Of course, Franklin was like, this is not good, and I can alter universes and realities and stuff, so let's change that. So they've been off trying to do that, and now they're back, and Franklin shows how powerful he has become, calling upon the ultimate teammate to fight with them in battle. But will it be enough to change the future? Wow! This book was awesome! Congratulations to Hickman and Epting for creating an epic book that was epic not because, it was a big 3-year story, or that because it crossed over into a bunch of books and it was the event of a few months. It's just epic all on its own. I love the script, the art, the execution of all the elements, the layouts are phenomenal. I loved everything about it, and I'm not even a huge Fantastic Four fan. So take that with a grain of salt, because maybe if you are, you're like, wow, I hated that ending. I don't know. I thought it was awesome. And I just can't highly recommend it enough. If you haven't been reading Fantastic Four, at least pick it up since number 600. It's been really cool. And I know it's been tying into Future Foundation, which some people don't like. But I was prepared to hate Franklin Richards, frankly, and I don't know, it's kind of growing on me, at least in this issue. And I'm interested to see what a grown-up Franklin Richards could be, and maybe they'll keep that character around. That would be really awesome.
Alright, and last and certainly not least for me is Daken, Dark Wolverine number 22. And in this one, Daken's fatal disease is in its final stages. Will he die, and what will his actions be when face-to-face with his father, Wolverine? Interesting premise, pretty good art. I like how Daken here is basically saying, I don't care if I'm dying, I'm going to be a villain and take out as many people as I possibly can in the process.
Sounds like him.
So he tries to kill Reed Richards.
Oh, nice. But see, he was saved this week in Fantastic Four, so I don't know if
and
that
yet
wrecks it
he
for
looks
you,
like he's going to die here. So he places bombs all over New York to distract the Avengers and other superheroes. He drugs Wolverine.
Sweet.
So Wolverine's on a trip.
Yeah.
It's interesting. The character's really dark and brooding, which it works for this character. You don't really feel for him though.
Yeah, no.
It's like, he's dying. Why don't I feel for him? It's like, oh wait, he's trying to kill everyone. That's why I don't feel for him.
Yeah, he's gone through a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah, and as this series comes to an end, which I think the next issue is the final one, I guess we'll see the evolution and the eventual what happens to him.
What it all means kind of stuff.
Kind of, yeah. But overall, not too bad a read. It's an interesting character study, I guess you could say. And he is a very dark character. He does not have a good family life, to say the least.
It's hard when Wolverine's your dad.
Yeah. But overall, not a bad book. I will recommend X-23 over this any day of the week, though. This was not bad, though. And it's interesting to see what he did to all these superheroes, trying to kill them. So, it was a fun read. I enjoyed it. It's just not perfect. Alright, so we said that we got a little bit of news to report, and it's a bit of a sad note.
Yes, for those of you who haven't heard.
For those of you who haven't heard, and I hated being the guy to have to report this at the Comic-Con last weekend, but we lost a very, very talented member of the artist community in Mobius this past weekend at age 73. Now, if you don't know Mobius, then, well, you're not a comic book fan.
Oh, I shouldn't say that, but you should definitely go and look into it.
Exactly.
Sure.
If anything, check out his Silver Surfer book. If anything, check out his works from Heavy Metal to Alien to... He did the concept designs for Tron. I mean, there's hundreds of things that I could just go on and on about.
You've probably seen his work and don't even really realize that you have.
Precisely, exactly.
You know?
And it's just beautiful, beautiful work. And sadly, he will be missed. Great artist, and I can't recommend his stuff highly enough. All right, so we're coming to a close on this episode. Be sure to join us next week, when we will start a very, very Muppety contest to win copies of the new DVD, The Muppets.
Sweet! Oh, wait, can I win those?
You get one for free.
Yes!
We will see you next week.